DocTalk is brought to you by Multimin USA, manufacturers of Multimin 90, sure trace mineral supplementation by timed injection.
Hi there, folks. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson, and thanks for joining us today on DocTalk. We're going to have a great show. We're going to talk about going to the fair and taking your animals to the fair with fair season upon us. My guest will be Dr. Bob Larson, and it's great to have you with us. It's going to be a great show. Stay tuned.
I'm Dennis Tebow. My wife and I, Kathy, are the owners of Wolf Creek Cattle Company. We have grown to approximately 70 bulls.
I'm Reese Arnold. I'm the livestock manager at Wolf Creek Cattle Company. You know, these are not just like normal cattle. These cattle, they're hauled anywhere from, 8 to 10 hours a day across the United States and asked to perform. The Multimin 90 keeps them kind of level. It maintains and balances their system. The stress level's less when, when everything's right and working right, then they're working right.
Closed caption brought to you by AgriLabs, the perfect pairing of performance and value. This segment is brought to you by Rotomix, manufactured in the USA and designed for feeding performance in the feedlots, beef production, dairy, and cow-calf operations.
Bob, welcome to the show.
Well, it's good to be here, Dan.
It's always great to have Dr. Larson with us. Dr. Bob Larson is a veterinarian and has a PhD. Also, he is the Coleman Chair here at Kansas State University's College of Veterinary Medicine, and with those duties, he is responsible for a lot of outreach for food animals, does a lot of research, a lot of teaching, and just proud to have you as a Wildcat. Fair season.
It is that time of year, Dan. It's getting hot, so it must be fair season.
That's right, and with heat and that, it's time for us to go to the fair, take our animals to the fair. And just what are some general thoughts that you have about fairs, whether it's county fair or state fair?
That's exactly right. We're talking anywhere from the county fair up through the state fair, and then some national exhibitions that occur too. Basically, this is supposed to be fun. I think everybody should be reminded about that. It is a great opportunity for both youngsters as well as their parents and adults to compare breeding programs, to compare livestock, and to just socialize with some other people and have a good opportunity to talk about cattle and the beef industry while they're at the fair.
Corn dogs and
Absolutely.
Bumper cars and all of them.
Absolutely. Get your root beer float and be ready to go.
Yeah, I love the homemade lemonade and a corn dog.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right, well, let's talk about getting ready for the fair. What are some of the things that as we're preparing to go and things that we need to take care of with our animals?
Yes. Well, I think I've started by saying it's a lot of fun, but you have to realize some of the responsibilities involved. And one is to the health and welfare of the animals on your ranch, both the ones that are going to the fair and the ones that are staying at home.
Right.
For the animals that are going to the fair, there's going to be several things you really need to think about. First of all, to go to the fair, you're going to need a health paper. You're going to need a veterinarian to examine those animals, make sure that they are healthy, both for those animals' health and safety, but as well as the other animals at the fair that they're going to come into contact with. So a veterinary examination and a health paper to assure that those cattle are ready to go to the fair. Then some of the things to think about while you're at the fair is want to have really good sanitation around feeding and the bedding for the animals, so you have adequate and good quality bedding, good quality feed, good way to clean all the feeding utensils and everything that you're going to be using. And just to think about having a good, healthy experience for the cattle while at their fair.
You bet. Show box, fans, all kinds of different things that a person has to think of on that packing list.
Yeah. Well, and you mentioned fans, and this is fair season, and it's a hot time of year. So really, we do need to keep in mind the heat stress and the opportunity for heat stress in these cattle and other livestock that are at the fair. So shade, well-ventilated areas, a lot of times using fans, possibly misters and different things depending on the location and the species, but really taking the comfort and the heat stress potential into consideration as you plan for going to the fair.
It's going to be great. When we come back, we're going to talk with Dr. Larson about what to do while you're at the fair when you have your animals there. You're watching DocTalk, and we're glad you joined us.
This segment was brought to you by Brute Cattle Equipment, makers of the Brute Stealth Hydraulic Chute. If the chute fits, swear by it. Visit our website for more information.
You know just how costly BRD can be, but did you know that bacteria like Mannheimia and Pasteurella can cause BRD? That's why veterinarians and cattle raisers focus on preventing pasteurellosis with a quality vaccine like Pulmogard PHM1. It's ready to use, highly syringeable, and provides comprehensive protection with a single dose. For pasteurellosis protection that's truly the head of the class, ask your veterinarian about Pulmogard PHM1.
Dr. Dan here. Whether I'm driving up and down the roads covering the state of Kansas, or I'm getting between Riley and Manhattan for my job, I'm driving a Ford truck. I'd like you to come out and visit my friends here at Dick Edwards Ford. They have a truck that'll suit your needs, whether you're looking for power with a Power Stroke diesel, or if you're looking for fuel efficiency with the new EcoBoost engine, they got a truck that's just right for you. They're located 2 miles east of the Town Center Mall in Manhattan, Kansas, and they'll bend over backwards to help you. And I'll see you down the road.
This hog is Hanover hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Beef producers need a practical choice when antibiotic therapy is required. More than ever, they are reaching for non-prescription Noromycin 300LA from Norbrook, specially formulated to produce sustained antibiotic blood levels up to 4 days in cattle. Noromycin 300LA delivers economic, broad-spectrum disease management for pneumonia, shipping fever, pink eye, wound infections, and foot rot. See for yourself why Norbrook's Noromycin 300LA is the practical choice for your herd. Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by Norbrook Laboratories, manufacturers of Noromycin LA, Normectin Plus, 1%, and Poron, the practical choice for your herd.
Hi there, folks. Welcome back to DocTalk. Dr. Dan Thompson and Dr. Bob Larson. We're both from the College of Veterinary Medicine here at Kansas State University, and we're enjoying a conversation with Dr. Larson about taking your animals to the fair. And as we went to break, we were talking about some of the things when you're prepping, you know, getting loaded and making sure you have it, but there's some things you probably need to load your cattle up on.
That's exactly right. You know, a lot of times, and you'll want to work with your local veterinarian to decide exactly how best to plan the vaccination program for the cattle that are going to the fair. They're under more exposure to more animals, different herds than the typical stay-at-home cattle. And so a lot of times we may want to booster those animals a little more frequently for some of the viral diseases, IBR, BVD, those types of diseases that can cause both respiratory disease or abortion, those types of reproductive loss if you're taking any pregnant animals. So a good booster vaccination, making sure that they've had their dewormings and that the external parasites, internal parasites, again, both for the safety of the animals that you're taking, as well as to protect the other animals and other people at the fair.
Well, you mentioned BVD, and you know, there's some things that we talked about earlier that potentially, you know, some of the shows may be requiring.
Mm-hmm. We are seeing a number of, particularly the national shows, moving towards requiring that all exhibition cattle that show up have a negative BVD test, or make sure that they're not persistently infected with BVD. And that's a great idea, particularly when there are going to be any pregnant animals at the fair.
Yep.
This is a disease that can cause abortion in pregnant animals. The persistently infected animal is a particularly high shedder. It sheds tremendous amounts of this virus. And if you happen to take an animal like that to the fair and they're exposed to other cattle, particularly pregnant cattle, you can run into some real problems.
Well, very important when you have all the cattle coming from different areas, going to be mixed and commingled and exposed to different agents and things like that, to make sure that we're just up to speed on all this.
You know, all the things we talk about all the time on cattle ranches, just, you know, sanitation, good immunization, good nutrition, minimizing stress as much as possible. And again, fairs are a lot of fun. I think they're a great opportunity, but from the health of the ranch or farm of origin, you have to remember that you are taking an additional risk by exposing your cattle to additional herds. Right. And so one of the most important things to think about is just make sure that the cattle that are at the fair is low stress as possible, good nutrition, just good animal husbandry, because those are the types of things that really protect the animal from becoming immunosuppressed, getting sick, bringing something home. So basically taking all the things that we talk about from good animal care, good animal husbandry, and just really emphasizing it when you're going to be grouping a bunch of animals together.
And water.
You can't say water enough.
Yeah.
Water that the animals will drink. It's hot. We want to keep them hydrated. Really important to keep water in front of them all the time.
Yep. Well, when we come back, we're going to discuss more with Dr. Larson about what to do when you're at the fair and when you're coming home from the fair with your animals. You're watching Doc Talk. We're glad you joined us. We're going to take a break, and we'll see you here after a bit.
This tip brought to you by Baytril 100 Enrofloxacin Injectable, now approved for use in controlling BRD in high-risk cattle. Baytril 100, right the first time, whether it's controlling BRD in high-risk cattle or treating BRD.
Hi folks, it's Dr. Dan from DocTalk. Thanks for joining me for today's On the Farm tip. We're going to talk about extra labeled drug usage. Labeled drug usage is when I pick up the bottle, there's a label on it. And when I look at the label, it's going to tell me how much to give, how often, and the route of administration. Route of administration might be sub-Q, IM, or intravenous. Now, anytime you change the route of administration, or if you change the dosage, or you change the time in which you give those drugs, that's called extra label drug usage. We can't do that without the written consent of a veterinarian. So we need to follow label directions. If we don't follow label directions, we can wind up with antibiotic residues in the meat. And so when we do an extra label drug usage, we need the veterinarian involved. Thanks for watching today's On the Farm tip. I'm Dr. Dan, and I'll see you down the road.
With BRD, every second counts. And when you get new high-risk cattle, you've got a choice to make. You can either take your chances and wait and see what happens, or you can take charge of BRD. Right from the start, treat bacteria up front with Baytril 100 Enrofloxacin Injectable, now approved by the FDA for BRD metaphylaxis in high-risk cattle. Ask your veterinarian about Baytril 100 and make it your go-to drug to control BRD in high-risk cattle or for treatment of BRD. Baytril 100, right the first time.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer, who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
Got cattle? Rotomix manufactures a complete line of energy-efficient rotary and vertical feed mixers for feedlots, beef production, dairy, and cow-calf operations. Our mixers are available with the patented Generation 2 staggered rotor, the industry standard for feeding wet rations that include wet distiller's grain. Made in the USA, Rotomix mixers are designed for feeding performance that American cattlemen and dairy producers have come to expect. Rotomix, proud to offer a better mix in less time using less fuel.
Multimin is one of those products you can use to get the ultimate performance out of cattle. Around 90 to 95% of our calves are either AI or embryo transplant. Since we've started using the Multimin, we're up around 70 to 75% conception on our first AI service. And a product like this is very beneficial for us.
This segment is brought to you by Lalaman Animal Nutrition, dedicated to the development and production of natural and differential solutions for animal nutrition.
Welcome back to Doc Talk. Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Bob Larson, who is the Coleman Chair and Professor here at Kansas State University in the Department of Clinical Sciences, located in the College of Veterinary Medicine. And Bob, we're talking about fairs. Mm-hmm. We've loaded them, taken them to the fair, got our purple ribbon. Now it's time to come home.
You know, a number of things that you got to think about just to avoid problems, because we want this to be a good experience, is to think about the transport itself. Mm-hmm. When we're moving cattle, we're worried about injury. We're worried about bringing any infectious diseases home, which makes me think of making sure that the trailer is in good shape. So any boards that need to be replaced, any loose areas that need to be welded, painted, fixed. Just basically making sure that the transport is safe for the cattle. And then the sanitation side of it is clean that trailer out real well before you go to the fair and clean it out really well when you get back home again.
It amazes me what we have to haul cattle to and from the fair these days compared to when we were growing up.
Yeah, they're getting a little nicer.
Yeah, you see when they got a camper involved in it. But yeah, I think it's really important to make sure those animals have a good ride to the fair. And you know, the new law coming up, no longer than 8 hours of haul without a 30-minute stop. Federal law that went into place in July 1. So something we got to watch. But how about when we get home?
And then when you get home, again, hopefully your animals are in great shape. They've been well immunized. They had a good experience at the fair, stayed cool, plenty of good nutrition. But I still am a little bit worried about them bringing home infectious agents from other cattle back to my herd. And because of that, I'd like to isolate them from my base herd, particularly pregnant cows, for at least 30 days. Now, during that, I say 30 days, but really what I mean is 30 days of being healthy. So if any time, while they're at the fair, or when they first get home, any signs of illness, and some of the signs of illness that I'm talking about are really going off feed, you know, other signs of respiratory disease, running a fever, not being, or having some depression, not as active as typical. Also looking for things like lameness or any other indications that you know, one of the body systems isn't doing as well as it should.
Right. So bring them in. We're going to quarantine them. 30 days of being healthy. And generally speaking, some of the things we're talking about, IBR, BBD, if they were infected, the thought process is that 30 days would be long enough that it would be like us getting a cold and clearing the virus.
Right. I mean, I in a lot of ways, that 30 days is a little bit of a guess, but it's based on the concept that some of the diseases that we're most concerned about, IBR virus, BBD virus, some of the bacteria, if the animals are going to be highly contagious to their herd mates, I would expect them to show signs of illness, or at least some of the animals in the group to show signs of illness within the first 30 days, probably within the first 2 to 3 weeks. And if they go through that time period and appear very healthy, the risk to the rest of the herd is much, much less.
Cool. Well, great information. And folks, we're going to take a break here. We're going to come back to visit with Dr. Bob Larson some more about state fairs, county fairs, and fairs in general with your animals, and we'll talk about how you can visit and represent yourself to the public. You're watching DocTalk, and we'll see you in a minute.
This segment is brought to you by Purple Wave Auction, the easiest, most straightforward way to sell used equipment. Purple Wave, straight, simple, sold.
This is Agriculture Today from Kansas State University. Well, short pasture growth early on in this grazing season may have heightened the chances that cattle have ingested parasitic worm larvae, which then become internal worm activity that interferes with animal performance. That's why K-State's Larry Hollis is advising producers to be ready with a second deworming treatment midway through the pasture season.
When they check them, they can tell if they've already picked up worm burdens because they'll be passing eggs in their manure. If they are, and it looks like you're going to be able to hold these cattle till fall to wean them and sell them, then it will pay huge dividends to go ahead and bring them back up in the middle of the summer and worm them again.
This is K-State Research and Extension.
The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine is a leader in food animal research and education. Our researchers are constantly expanding the knowledge of animal health and food safety. Through the Veterinary Health Center and the Kansas State Veterinary Diagnostic Lab, we provide practical services for animal producers. Home of the Beef Cattle Institute, the college is committed to animal welfare training and research. The Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine, knowledge and service for the future of animal production.
Cow-calf, stocker, and feedlot producers know that effective parasite control improves overall herd performance and profitability. Norbrook offers a comprehensive, economical line of pour-on and injectable parasiticides for every livestock operation. Consult with your local animal health supplier to set up a program that protects your investment and brings larger cattle checks this fall. See for yourself why the Noromectin line from Norbrook is the practical choice for your herd.
Hi, I'm Kevin Ochsner, host of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman and Colorado Rancher. Join me each week as the National Cattlemen's Beef Association brings you the latest updates in industry information and market news. Plus, each week we provide important educational information and features on cattlemen from across the country just like you. And we can't forget our favorite cowboy poet, Baxter Black. Join me for NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman, debuting Tuesday nights at 8:30 Eastern, right here on RFD TV.
Valley Vet Supply is devoted to providing information and professional quality products at reasonable prices.
ValleyVet.com, ValleyVet.com, Valley Vet Supply.
This segment is brought to you by the Beef Quality Assurance Program and the Kansas Beef Council, improving animal care and beef safety for more than 20 years.
Folks, welcome back to Doc Talk. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson here with Dr. Bob Larson from Kansas State University's College of Veterinary Medicine. And Dr. Larson is the Coleman Chair here, endowed professor of production medicine in the Department of Clinical Sciences. And it's always good to have Dr. Larson on the show. It's great to have him here at K-State, and we're talking about taking our animals to the fair. And now the public, farmer, public interaction.
Exactly. Yeah, I was kind of talking earlier about how much fun it is to talk to your fellow cattlemen and other 4-H'ers and
Right.
FFA members and that you see at the fair, but you're also interacting with the public. And it's a great opportunity to put a personal face on agriculture, put a personal face on the people that care for the livestock in our country. And so there's going to be a lot of people at the fair, and it's a great opportunity to talk to them. They may be interested in asking about your animals, what you do on a daily basis to take care of them. And I think that's a great opportunity to put a personal face on animal agriculture. So talk to the people that come to the fair, really be it's an opportunity to really showcase the way we take care of animals and our knowledge of animals.
And there's so many times that the public only gets exposed to the negative aspects on the sensationalized 6 o'clock news about agriculture. This is an opportunity, kids from urban, suburban areas, to come and interact with us from the country and learn that, you know, we do care and understand that when you're at the fair, you're representing the entire industry.
Yeah, that's really important, that not only are you representing your home ranch or your county, but you're really representing everyone in agriculture, and it's an important responsibility. And it's a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing I do think about, though, is these animals are large. There is always the risk of individual injury, a human injury, particularly if you're not used to working around cattle. So while I think it's a great opportunity to interact with the public, to really talk to them about what you're doing, let them see your cattle, but I'd keep in mind and keep an eye on other people to make sure that they don't do anything that, get into trouble with an injury with your animals. So I kind of like to keep people a little bit of distance, make sure that you've got your display area set up so that it's not likely that someone could get into trouble, get kicked, butted, crushed by one of the exhibition animals.
You bet. Well, the safety of the animals, the safety of the people exhibiting, and the safety of the people coming to watch is,
Just keep that in mind all the time.
Want it to be fun.
Yeah, exactly.
Want it to be a good event. Closing thoughts, comments about the fairs?
Well, it's at least been hot around here lately, and that does make you start thinking about the county fair and then the state fair. And they are great opportunities. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of opportunity to learn, and it's a great opportunity to interact with the public and put a personal, positive face on animal agriculture.
Appreciate it. Enjoy your time at the fair.
I will. We're getting ready. We're getting ready right now to get everything loaded up and go to the fair.
That's awesome. If you want to know more about what Dr. Larson and I do, you can find us on the web at www.vet.ksu.edu. Remember to always work with your local practitioner. I'm Dr. Dan Thompson from the College of Veterinary Medicine at Kansas State University. Thank you for joining us on Doc Talk today, and I'll see you down the road.
Closed caption brought to you by AgriLabs, the perfect pairing of performance and value.
DocTalk, produced in cooperation with Drovers Cattle Network and Bovine Veterinarian. For more information about this program or previous programs, go to doctalktv.com. DocTalk was brought to you by Multimin USA, manufacturers of Multimin 90, sure trace mineral supplementation by timed injection.
My name is Paul Davis. The name of the ranch is the Alvord Ranch, southeastern Oregon. Multimin's been a product that's working very well for us. Since we started using Multimin, the healthiness of the cattle has been better, the breedback's been better. We've had way less sickness. I would recommend Multimin to any cowman. Multimin seems to be a great preventive tool here. Things just get better every year.